Hello, Kuala Lumpur.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I wanted to
Good
say
morning.
Happy New Year. Today is Tamil New Year, so Puttanda Valthakal.
Happy New Year to you too. I'm not going to say in Tamil because I'll massacre it, and then we will go in a different direction.
I like the way how you English find the massacre it.
I'm back in Singapore, so you can say hello, good morning, Singapore again. Right.
Good morning,
Okay.
Singapore. I can see you've taken the Malaysian glow with you, and that's fine. We still have
Oh,
enough glow here. We've changed our
okay.
life
Very
brighter today.
brighter today, yeah? Okay. It's natural for me. So we don't need to do it. Oh. Okay, so today, who and what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about the leader's health, right? A leader's health, a specific leader's health. Malar, you met Maggie Singh about 2 weeks ago. I met her in 2007, right?
Wow.
And that was in Singapore. And we were attending an event, and she had just been on a plenary session, I think. No, it was one of those panel discussions, yeah. And we sat down at the same table for lunch, and that's how we got to know each other, right?
Lucky.
And at that time, she was in her second role, and in the second company, in a different role, in the same organization, for in her career, right? So it was the start of her career. Since then, she's been in the same organization forever, all right? But she has moved on to take on roles in Ecuador, and she's now head of HR in Brazil. And this is a lady who speaks, I think, about 5 or 6 languages, okay? And she's got an amazing being. She writes poetry, all right? She creates videos. I don't know how she does all of that on top of doing all the leadership work that she needs to do. So we're going to bring, what? You also write poetry. I know.
No. I wanted to say I know how she does all of it.
Oh, you know how she does all of it, okay? But we're not interviewing you, okay?
is Maggie Singh, that's what I realized. That's
Correct.
the strongest one around.
Yeah, that's right. As we just found out, right? And 2 weeks ago, I had the last chat with the latest chat we've had with you, and both of us were reduced to crying buckets, listening to her stories about her dad. So we're going to talk to Maggie Singh today, and we're going to find out a couple of things about what makes her healthy as a leader, as a person, and as a leader. Shall we bring Maggie along?
Please, I can't wait. I don't know what other story she's going to tell about herself today.
Maggie. Where's Maggie? There's Maggie.
Hi. Hi. Good evening. Good morning from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
She is in the land that speaks Portuguese, the other land that speaks Portuguese. Hi, Maggie. Welcome. Okay. Welcome. Thank you for saying yes to us. And thank you for spending the time with us in sharing some of the stories. So we thought that we'll get some of that sharing started, and I'm going to start off with the first question for you. Right? Your upbringing has played a very important role in who you are today, not just as a person, I think, because that's an obvious logical conclusion, right? But I think as a leader as well, it has played a very, very important part. Right? Your upbringing, in terms of what your experience were with your parents and so forth. So tell us a little bit about how your upbringing has influenced your leadership style.
First of all, thank you to Sharm you and Malar you. So Sharm I have known for 14 years, Malar for 14 days. But I think when you connect at a certain energy level, you don't feel the passage of time or lack of time. So that's the connect that I made. I felt that connect. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a huge honor. I mean, I don't really think of myself as a leader who can you know talk about, but it's good to talk about my journey, and it's an honor to also be able to talk about my parents. um, so yeah, I think upbringing does play a huge part in who you are. And for me, interestingly, my father was a doctor, so relates well to the theme of health that we are talking about. And as we were growing up, I think my parents' philosophy in life was, and I will quote a Sanskrit mantra here: "Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya," which means everyone should be happy and everyone should be healthy. So may everyone be happy, may everyone be healthy. So this is something that I saw my parents practice uh, in both. So my father was a doctor, so obviously he was doing it through his profession, but my mom as well was even then a healer in her own right, around friends, around family, very calm people who always believed in doing good for others. And that's what was inculcated in us from the very beginning as we were growing up, that what you need to focus on is yourself, not what others are doing, right?
Mm.
So how others behave is what they want to do. How you react to it is something that you own. And that, I think, is a very powerful statement, because it's not easy to stay with yourself and as yourself when life is happening around you all the time. But I think that is a grounding that we got from the very beginning. Apart from that, I think the focus was very much on hard work, on sincerity, on being honest in everything that you do. So you have to be honest with yourself and with what you're doing, right? Which is not, again, always possible, but very important. So while ambition is, of course, and today I feel that ambition has been is being taken in very negative connotations. When you say, "Oh, she's very ambitious," it means like she's ready to kill to get where she wants to be,
Yeah.
right? But we were taught that ambition that we were taught was not a negative word. The ambition that we were taught was about having an objective of who you want to be, you know and this ambition was not in relation to someone else, in the sense of what is it that others have that I don't have. It was about what is it that I want to make myself, what is it that I want to be, what is it that I like to see myself as. So that is the word ambition. That is what it means to me. And I think it is very important today, where the competition is always cutthroat. But uh, being ambitious is also means being honest to yourself. So that is something that we learned very early on, and that has helped in the way I work with people around. And I fortunately, unfortunately, I'm in a field where I have to interact with a lot of people, and it has always guided me in my interactions with people that one has to be honest. uh, you cannot fake it and still be able to do what you really want to do. So this is something that is very important, whether it is your team, uh, the people that you work with, your colleagues, and yourself, most of all. And this has really guided me. And there are a lot of things that my parents would always say, which have come to help me. Uh, my father used to read a lot, so we also inculcated that habit of reading, right? And we would read autobiographies. Uh, and something that stuck me I was reading Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography, and is there's one quote where he says, I'm not sure he says or it's there in a book, that if you're doing something, just think about whether you can do this confidently in front of your parents, or you can tell your parents that you're doing this. Uh,
Nice.
and that has always been my guiding principle in anything where I have any iota of doubt. Should I do it? Should I not? So I just think, can I stand in front of my parents and tell them
Mm.
that I've done this? And if the answer is no, I would not do it.
Mm. Okay. I want to go back to something that you said earlier on, when you first started, or very soon after you started. You said it's staying with yourself when life is happening all around you, right? Can you give us an example of when either it was easy for you to do that for whatever, or it was challenging? Actually, I like the challenging one, lah. But I'm going to give you a choice to see which one you like to talk about.
The thing is, for me, I think, and this is where I relate to, inflow, because whatever I have planned in my life, so to say, that I want to be this or I want to be here, I have not done that, or it has not happened, in the sense that when I was growing up, I was, ever since I was very young, I wanted to be a civil servant, an Indian Administrative Services. Right? It's very prestigious in India to be an IAS officer. So everyone around me, like my family, my parents, friends, they all were like, "Oh, she's coming as the district collector very soon." So that was the kind of vibe and the ambition around me. So this was, but as I grew up, I just decided to study for MBA with my friends, and I took HR, and here I am, right? So I have never, and then by the age of 22, 23, I stopped planning my life because I realized it doesn't work. One is that when you're that young, you don't know what you want to do or what you like, right? You've not
Correct.
so
Yeah.
you're expecting someone who is 12, 15, even 20. I think even at 40, I don't know what I want to do probably. I really don't plan. That's what I mean, that, when life will continue to happen. So how I just go with the flow, right? I do not get disturbed by, oh, this is what I wanted, and now it's not happening. What do I do? So I do not struggle with it. I just go with the flow, and that has helped me accept it. And I think that has I don't have any complaints about what I have got in life, which came to me with, in a very unplanned fashion. So it's not about, it could be a challenge, it could be a good thing, and sometimes it is a challenge disguised as a good thing. More often than not, I feel that challenges are actually disguised as good things. Even at the worst of your times, you think you were down in the dumps, but you will realize after a while that that life that was happening around you was building the person that you become. And if you like the person that you become, then there's no complaining. So probably there were times then that I had challenges which I complained about, but now I think I have that acceptance that whatever happens is making me or helping me grow, and it will help me face the challenges that come in future.
Okay, so if you take that trajectory, right, and let's map that to your leadership style. So if you take that, have you seen that shift happen in your leadership style? And tell us a little bit more about that.
So yes, I think if I talk about Brazil, for example, so I've come here during pandemic, right in the middle of pandemic, lots of challenges because all the traditional models of work were not happening. You were not meeting people physically, personally, so the connect was not there. So obviously it becomes challenging. So at that moment, instead of thinking that I wish I was in office, or I wish I could meet people personally, or I wish I could get more things in place where it was getting challenging because of the pandemic. So I said, okay, let's work with what we have, and let's make use of the tools that we have, the technology that we have. And I think in the last 1.5 years that I've been in this role, I've gained a lot of confidence. It's a huge learning, but it makes me now confident that we can handle this. And I think we've been able, despite the fact that we've only started going hybrid the last few months, I think we've built relationships which traditionally you could make only when you are seeing people one on one. So we've created those avenues where you can create collaboration, you can create relationships, you can make things happen.
I'm going to hand over to Mala because she's given me a few signals that she wants to complete that, right? So
Sham, your skills are not getting any better. So whenever Maggie speaks, I have a problem because I have this OCD need to take
to write everything down, right? Yeah.
Another nugget, right? So oh Maggie, I love you. Okay. So first, I do the right thing by saying good morning, Sundar, Prabhakaran, and Luis Moraes. Good morning, and I'm going to say, Tamil Tandavaltikal to all of them, and thanks for joining us, and all the others, who have not said hello but are, online on LinkedIn. So again, right, Maggie, your session is always a difficult session to summarize because I need to summarize to say I'm going to ask you a question. But I realized what you did was, as usual, whenever you talk about your parents, specifically your dad, it's inspiring because I think what I'm taking back from all that you've said, and I realized why my heart beats differently every time I speak to you. And I really feel I know your dad and respect and love him every time you speak, right, about him, because I see all of that coming through you, right? And you inspire me to want to be a better parent all the time. But from the beautiful summary that you gave, I realized that what your parents gave you is a very strong foundation, right? And you were saying some things that probably may not fit a lot of the things that we talk about in the current generation. Not even in the current generation, to a lot of parents who come from our generation who are raising kids, right? Because on one hand, you said, how you spoke about ambition, like ambition is a bad thing now. And what I loved about what you said about ambition is really, if you are clear about your identity, right? Your ambition is really how to live your identity by going with the flow, right? And you give us a lot of examples like going with the flow, not planning too much ahead, a bit of planning, what are the next couple of steps, right? And the reason ambition is positive for you is because you're connecting it back to your ideal self. So your ambition becomes, how do I now bring my best out in every opportunity I can, right? And for that, your parents seem to have built like such an amazing foundation, right? Because what I hear about ambition, right? Whenever we talk about ambition, we miss out on the foundation, and we are so caught up in, begin with the end in mind. You're so focused on the end, you don't realize what do you have to be. So it's not the how. We look at the outcome. How we achieve it doesn't matter, because what matters is the result. It's not how we get the result. But I think the greatest gift that you've given us so far, and that's for me so far, of the many gifts, is the fact that, where you go, the end is important. But for Maggie Singh, because her parents said so, how she gets there is very important, because she needs to be standing tall in front of her parents and say, this is what I did, right?
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of self-respect, pride, and a big chunk of identity there. So what would you say to people who've grown up believing ambition is important, how they achieve the outcome is not important, and fake it till you make it is the current trend, right? Look confident, be ambitious, do this, and show up and tell people what you can actually do, right? So what would your advice be to people who are growing, going up the corporate ladder, as well as people who are already up there, who think they made it because of all of these beliefs, and who are passing that on to the people around them. Long
So,
question.
yeah, no, but I got the essence. And the first thing I will say to you is that uh, in this life, once we are here in this world, there is only one end, right? And that is not arriving, that's departure. This is something that we all have to be very cognizant of. And I think um, we brush this finality under the carpet all the time, from the philosophy that we come from, of Hinduism, or most religions, they talk about death. You talk about Buddhism, you talk about Hinduism, they talk about this. But we behave as if we have milestones to achieve. No, this life is not about the houses or the cars or the roles or the position. This life is about the journey, because uh, this this journey ends at only one goal, which is that you depart. That is the goal. So what do you leave behind? You don't, I mean, if you think you're going to leave behind the material wealth, it's not for you, right? No one else uses it. Someone will use it, but it doesn't make sense to you, because you've already passed over. If you think you are leaving behind a legacy, or someone, people will remember you, then that is also, in the large frame of time, it is very temporary, few hundred years. And not everyone, the whole world will never know one person. So if we are aiming for being famous or being rich or having that position, it doesn't work. And that is something that I think was very important for my parents, to be in that space where, I'll just give you an example. So when I was coming to Brazil as the HR head, I told my father, look, I'm going to be the director of HR. And he said, congratulations, you'll do well. He was proud. But then when I was actually moving, I got a farewell gift from my team. And this was again during the pandemic, so there was no physical farewell. It was a gift with a card. And that card said something on the lines of, what all nice teams will tell you at the farewell, that you are a nice human being, and you're a great boss, things like that. Nice things, right? And I just sent a photo of that to my parents, and my father said, you've made me proud today. So that shows that for my father, yes, he was proud about the material achievements that we made. So if I be happy if I bought a car, and he would be happy if I became the director of HR. But what made him really proud was the fact that my team thought that I was a great human being. So I think that what one needs to the ambition, if you are having ambitions in terms of material things, they don't stay. It's good. I'm not saying don't have ambition, definitely, but that ambition should not stop at you becoming, you getting a certain position, or you being able to earn a certain kind of lifestyle. I think that ambition should be about you being able to achieve what you truly desire and deserve. And if you were talking, Malar, about people who are on the way to success, or leadership, people who are already arrived. I think people, and I've seen people around me, I think people who only base the ambition on the negative aspects in terms of comparison, that if she has a certain thing, why don't I? Or for whom ambition becomes not a gain for myself, but should be a loss for someone else, they are never happy. So, if you have everything in the world, in terms of a position and money and family, and still you're not happy, then what is that? That's not success, right? For me, success is what makes you feel satisfied and happy. So that is what leaders should also aspire for. And when you aspire for that, I think the team around you also sees that. So you are impacting lives in a much more positive way.
Thank you. So I surely have a follow-up question. I loved, because while on one hand, you're talking about ambition and you're putting in values, the values that your parents have given you and that you have, taken it as part of it, it's become part of your very strong identity, just like your name. Now we know why you are the strongest woman that your dad aspired you to be, right? You're also talking about desire and deserve. You said something along the line of you need to look at what you desire and you deserve, right? So how do you in your own life experience in the leadership journey, because you sound so clear, right, about what you want, while you are getting what you probably want in terms of the work that you're doing, the satisfaction and the happiness, right? All of those things that's happening while you're doing that, which seems to be desirous. How do you, if you put it in a grid, right? How do you discern what is desirable, what you deserve, and how that these two, when they come together at the optimal level, how they don't go against your values?
It's not easy. It's not easy, and it has taken me a lot of time to reach where I am today, where I feel where you're not disturbed by, like I said, when life is happening around you. So of course there are challenges. Of course, when you say that desire and what you deserve, so it is always a process and it is always a journey. So if I say that today I have everything that I desire and I have everything that I deserve, I'm not going to be saying the truth. So it is always, like, because life is a journey. So and we are humans, so we arrive at point A and we know that, now that we have come to point A, we want to go to point B and C and D. So your desires will keep changing. Your what you perceive yourself to be or what you think you deserve will also keep changing, and that is constant, you know uh, constantly you are realizing your own worth. So it's not that aha one moment and that I have this is where I am and I have realized my potential and that's it. No, when you reach point A, so I will, at one point of time I had never thought I will go overseas. Then I went to Singapore and I actually started alone. I didn't know I could live alone in a foreign country. I did that, right? And then I realized I could do something bigger than this. So then I have now come to all the way from Singapore. I've come to the other side of the world, where I didn't know the language. I had a very small kid. My husband was not with me at the time, so I didn't know I could do it. But I have. So then it gave me the confidence that yes, I can. I can do much more, and probably I. So what I deserve also changes, right? And you just take it. You try it, you do it, and then when you have actually achieved that, you realize that you're capable of doing much more, and that is why then you start thinking of also being uh, being deserving of much more. So your desires and what you deserve will keep changing.
Nice, nice. And that actually coming that actually helps me to understand and appreciate what you talk about confidence, right? Because on one hand, when we meet you, you are very confident, you're very sure of yourself. And then in your conversation and in the examples you're giving, which I really appreciate, is you are saying how you're building your confidence through your clarity and your competence, right? And as you
Right.
build those competences, right, and you realize, and that's when your vision becomes bigger and you go ahead and achieve it, and yeah, your desire for a bigger thing becomes there. But you go ahead and work on it. As you work on it, you may not realize where your confidence level is, but as you achieve it, you realize, now I'm sure about where I'm, and how I've achieved it, which makes a lot of sense, because that was one of the questions I was saying. And what I liked is that you keep using the word confidence to say when you take on new roles, you may not be as confident, but you work through it, and you know when you arrive there, and that's where the deserving comes. Okay, I'll pass it to Sham because it's the first time she's come into the space. Yes, Sham.
First time I come into what space? Your space, is it? Yeah. So this is the only live show you'll probably go where the two hosts will be fighting with each other about who to ask the question.
That's why we are in different countries. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm always going back to something that you said earlier on, right? And I'm interested to hear how yourself, and I'm going to put this very roughly, right? Rough as in not got the best choice of words. How yourself you can clash with the culture, call it what you want, the culture, the way people behave, right? So let me give you an example, right? If you're talking about what I deserve and I desire, if I take it from when you were so I don't know the culture of work in Brazil and Ecuador, but let me just pull in what I know about Singapore, right? And it's a generalization. So I'm going to say it's a generalization. And I know you've worked here. I'm not sure if you heard the 5 C's that people aim for in Singapore, right? Mallory, you've heard or not? The 5 C's, right? So you've got the cash, you've got the condo, you've got the car, you've got the credit card, and you've got the club membership. Right? So here you are, Maggie Singh, okay, where ambition is, not the end goal. Ambition is I'm going with the flow, right? And here you have a group of people that you may be leading, who may have a very strong ambition and desire towards the 5 C's, right? How did they come together? How do you lead a group that is so distinct and extreme and across the other side of the pendulum from Maggie Singh?
Let me be mean. So people who are looking at only achieving the 5 C's are actually short selling themselves because they stop at achieving those 5 things. When I'm saying that I deserve more or I desire more, I'm not saying I don't want the condo or the cash, and everything is welcome, but it is not the end for me. That is not the end. Like I said, the end is only when you are dead and there's nothing else to be done. So I'm not going to short sell myself with just those 5 C's. I have much more to achieve, and that could be that is not necessarily material or physical. It could be something spiritual. It could be something more emotional, or it could be an understanding of this universe and how it functions and what happens after death. What do we do? So it's a lot of things, and I do think about a lot of these things. So the 5 C's are very material, and if you really put your mind to it, and I do believe that anyone who really wants to achieve something can do it. There is no limitation. If you really want to get something, you will get it. So if someone is really focused on getting those 5 C's, they will get it. But what after that?
Okay.
That is,
so let's take
continue to grow.
Yeah. Agreed. So you're holding with that. You're very clear with where you come from. And so as a leader, what's your struggle when you have that point of view or that way of thinking about it, and you're leading a team that has a very distinct way of thinking about ambition, right? What's your great struggle when it comes to situations like that?
So, as a leader, I think I don't believe in directing or giving, passing on wisdom like this is what I know and this is what is right. No, this is what I think, and this is what is right for me. This may not be right for someone else, right? So, as a leader, I think the biggest struggle for me is to be able to listen. And when I say listen, I'm not saying just in the auditory sense of the word, right? There are a lot of cues. It's the words, it's the tone, it's very subtle. The ambience, environment, the time. So a lot of things. So you have to be, as a leader, you need to be able to listen to what the team is saying. And I think for me, I talk a lot. You can see that, right? So for me to quieten my mind and be able to listen to what they are saying first, not even, here I'm not talking about giving them a solution. I'm talking about listening to them on what they are saying and then understanding what they mean by it. And see, as a leader or as a human being, it is not my responsibility to help that person achieve everything they want. What is my responsibility as a leader? My responsibility as a leader is that I guide the person, okay, on the path, and I align my organization's objectives and this person's objectives. So I have to achieve that win-win, right, as a leader, because I am in a position in an organization where I have material objectives. So, how do I align these objectives with the objectives of my team? So, yes, there will be material objectives of the team. They want a promotion, or they want to grow, or they want a certain role, they want to go to another country. Um, so my job is to see how both these can come together and we work in the best possible way where the organization's objectives are achieved and my team is able to walk on that path that will lead them to achieve their objectives. I'm not here to change their mind. Okay, so I'm just saying that there are more possibilities, and this is something that I'm doing with my team, and I think some of them do see what I'm talking about. Some of them may not, and there's also a language barrier, and that's fine. I don't want to judge them for wanting to have a car and cash and credit card. That's fine. Uh, but I feel they are short selling. So if what is the purpose in life? Let's think about that as well. And not everyone is open to that. So you have to see, when you listen, you will realize that there is a right time or place to have that discussion as well if you want to. So the choice on the leader again is that how much do you want to be involved or influence someone else's life? Is that what I want to do? Influence someone's life to an extent where I want them to change their path to suit what I believe? No, that's not what I want.
But it's difficult, no?
Yes,
Difficult
it's very
to
difficult.
not to but I know. Don't you want to see it the other way?
No. I think there was a time I would want to, and this is a lot of constant introspection and thought that has told me or given me this understanding that I am not responsible for what someone else chooses to do with their life. I can guide. I can share my thoughts, knowledge, experience, but that is where my job ends. Because when you start taking responsibility for someone else's life, then you end up with a lot of frustrations and also probably guilt. I don't want to do that. I am responsible uh, today to guide my child, and when she's an adult, then I don't have a right to even decide for her what she wants to do. It's for her. What I need to do as a leader, just as a parent, is to say that there are possibilities and show them possibilities. How they choose to go beyond that is their choice, not mine. I should not take accountability or responsibility for that.
Malar, will you stop writing? Ask the next question.
No, Maggie Singh only very difficult to ask question because she gives you so much. Then you're thinking, okay, what's that one question that I can ask in the next 5 minutes? Right? So I think Maggie, again, right? You come with different, a unique point of view, I would say, right? The one that we are struggling with, because on one hand, I love the way you are clear about the sense of who you are and how you stay on course with your purpose, your ideals as to in terms of your self-worth, and how you marry that into, or how you bring that into your leadership role. So that's fantastic. As an individual, I can see how you're healthy because we're talking about the health of a leader, right? health is taken care at an individual level. And but what's amazing is, we always talk about it. If it's just you, it's easy, right? But when you bring yourself into a role in an organizational role where you are now, you are now being judged in terms of your effectiveness in the results that you bring about, right? So that's where the pressure starts building up because you've got KPIs to meet, and then you have a team of people who are given to you who probably have different, were still opposing points of view from you, right? And I just absolutely loved it as to you're very clear about boundaries with
Yes.
yourself, every relationship, which is what I believe makes you as healthy as we are experiencing you, right? Because I think a lot of us struggle because we either want to be what I'll call too good or too bad,
Mm.
right? I either, just focus on the results or focus on the people, being kind and making it to heaven. It's sort of a thing. But a lot of times, living the life experience is about living on earth. For me, is about how do you get the best of both, right? You need to live your best life while contributing to your purpose, right? So you seem to have like a really nice clarity about what is your responsibility in every role and how that connects to your life purpose,
Mm-hmm.
right? And if we spoke about that, what do you see as your life purpose?
I'm still discovering it. We'll go as we are walking this journey. We will know. So, like I said, your what you deserve, what you desire will keep changing. So it will end when I'm gone.
Nice. Tell us about, because one of those things that we spoke a lot about is in just your career transition or your life transition, right? Because you come across as a leader who's very reflective, as
Yeah.
a person, actually, not as a leader. I think as a
No, yeah.
person, you are using the same rules everywhere to reflect, and that's how you anchor in your strong sense of self, which then shows up in all the other roles that you play, right? Which then helps you to carry out your responsibility, and you know how to cut away boundaries, right? By having the right boundaries, you seem to be able to do that really well, right? Now, how has all of this, right, shaped you as a non-judgmental leader, right? In embracing diversity, because you've put yourself in really challenging situations, more diverse than we think of,
Yeah.
not knowing the language, not knowing the culture, right? So with that, how that has that helped you?
See, I was not always what you see today. Like we are always work in progress, right? If you would have spoken to me 10 years ago, I would not be this person. I think, you know, a lot of the life experiences or a lot of the choices or options that I've been given, it was not my decision to come to LATAM, for example, but I'm here. And I think acceptance of where you are and what you have, having that gratitude helps. I would say that I started off as a very judgmental person, even though I didn't myself realize it. Starting from school, I think we live in a very judgmental society, and that puts a lot of pressure on us. So, if I give you an example, when we were in school, there would be good students and there would be bad students, right? So good students were students who were getting good marks, who were participating in debate competitions and quizzes and doing well, and there were bad students who were uh, not attending classes, not getting all the good marks, or sometimes not even being able to comprehend what is being taught. And as a student, I think I was very, very judgmental, and I was, oh, she's a bad student, and she doesn't even know this. But as I have grown, and now when I was, for example, in Quito, I saw how my child was being taught in her school, and I saw that they were so much more open, right? Because uh, they, even as 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, were being taught about the backgrounds of students. So someone may have been in an abusive family. We didn't know. And that's why that person was not able to focus on studies, for example. So I saw the way the teachers put in that effort to teach my kid at age 7 and 8 that people are different and you have to respect the differences. And I learned from that. I think being in different countries with such varying cultures has made me drop a lot of my preconceived notions, a lot of the judgments that I had, and it has helped me grow, become a better person. So I truly believe that uh, uh, having the acceptance and being willing to uh, to experience and immerse yourself in those experiences is very important. So being in Ecuador, or today when I'm in Brazil, I can say that, oh, I'm an Indian and this is what I want to do, and I don't want to mix up with anyone. I don't want to learn the language. But then, how will I grow? What's the point then in me living here? I might as well have lived in India. I'm here. I am so fortunate that I'm here. Not everyone gets that kind of opportunity. So, if I have the opportunity to experience this, then why not? If I have people around me who are willing to share their experiences, their culture, their food, their language, then I should be grateful that I have these experiences, and I have actually done that. And I'm very thankful for the people who've come in my life, because they've always been very accepting of who I am, and they've always been willing to give me feedback, to help me improve myself, right? Whether it is language, whether it is learning the culture, or very little things, knowing the place. So I think I've been very blessed to have people in my life who have always come up and said, come on, let me help you. So and I've realized that culture, human beings are all the same, despite all the differences of culture, food, language, clothes. At the end of it, we are all the same. We all want a bit of love, affection, people to talk to, people who we vibe with and gel with, and that is what we are all about.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, one last minute question has come up. As a leader, what is your advice on managing the millennials from Lewis? And I know you've answered all the questions in different way, right? As to the boundaries, your values, your self-esteem, all of it is done. But just one quick liner, because we are at 8:48, just for Lewis, so that he comes back again. Do you think, beyond what you have said about values, self-worth, and all of that, right? And I'm sure he'll listen in again. Do you think people need to be managed differently in terms of generation or culture? Because you have just answered at cultural level, we are all the same. Generationally, do you think if there's any difference for you?
I think most of the millennials are very clear about what they want. I would just want to say that whatever they want is possible. You just have to believe that it is possible, and you don't need to change who you really are at the core to achieve. And there are people who say, "Oh, this personality does not fit into corporate life," for example. No, I think if you're honest with yourself, like I've already said, it is possible to achieve what you want, retaining or becoming better as the person that you are today. So don't let go of your essence and
Nice.
go after what you really want.
Brilliant.
Love it. I love
Love it.
every word that you say. I need to listen to this interview all over again. Okay.
You're embarrassing me.
No,
No,
I'm holding the 3,000 questions I have, but
yes, I know. Yeah. If not, we'll never get off. And you said 45 minutes is a long time. 45 minutes has gone. Thank you, Maggie, for once again for saying yes. The lady, the person I met in Singapore in 2007 is so different from the lady that I'm meeting now. I became friends with the lady in 2007, and I remain friends, and I hopefully remain friends for a long, long time. Thank you for being in my life, Maggie Singh. Thank you for saying yes to us, and thank you for sharing your wisdom with our viewers. Thank you so much, Maggie. Love you.
Thanks for inviting me. I think I really enjoyed the session.
Great. Yes. And on that note, Muller.
All right, thank you, Maggie. We'll catch up again. I think you'll never finish catching up. So, yeah,
No.
wow, I don't know whether it's nuggets of wisdom or diamonds of wisdom. I don't know what I'm going to call it. I need to find a new word. But I think what all throughout the conversation, what I picked up is for me is what does it mean not just to be a leader, but to be an extraordinary leader. It focuses on character strength rather than the external skills. So that's one thing that came out over and over again from Maggie about her own character building, which started off at childhood but never stopped and will never stop. And that's the legacy from her parents, even though she says she doesn't believe in legacy, but I think that's going to be carried on. So that's one part. But I think the beauty about Maggie is that because of that foundation that the parents put in for her, especially her dad, right, about being a good person first, and she has demonstrated very clearly how that helps her to keep on track of being a healthy person first, right? Not to overdo stuff, because we know that in the corporate world, in the flow work that we do, it is the overwork where we get confused between optimal life and top performing. When we get confused, that's how we kill ourselves slowly but surely. And right now, where well-being is right and on top, Maggie has also very nicely told us how important it is for us to live a satisfying and happy life for ourselves. And she brilliantly and bravely also takes responsibility only for herself. And knowing that she could be a guiding light, but she is not in charge of other people's life, which is what sometimes the very good leaders whom we see suffer get caught in. We get caught in the web of believing that we are here to change the world, leave a legacy, so we kill ourselves in the process. And Maggie has like so clearly put it out to us, right, with so many golden nuggets, which I believe, Sham, that's where your wisdom came in by choosing the right topic. It's about the health of a leader, right? So clever, like you.
Yeah, sometimes can this brilliant shine through. My takeaway is from today's session is you use that word foundation, right? I think the foundation is so important, and the foundation is built not just by we sometimes take it. There are many things that build our foundation. Parents for sure, our upbringing for sure, right? The first job or the first leader we experience is also something that builds our foundation. What I've also taken on from that, foundation is one thing. The other thing is always checking in, right? Checking in to see, is it right? Is this the way I want to do it? Is this what we need? Is this? So it's that reflection and the checking in and questioning and saying, it's okay. I need to let go of something and I need to rethink about things differently, right? And then moving on. And I hope that we don't wait for something like a pandemic to happen for us to do that rethinking and then reviewing what life is all about, or what is our career about, what is this work thing that we call work about. Yeah. So thanks, Maggie, for bringing up that reflections, the thoughts that we need to think about, or that I'm thinking about as well right now.
Yeah.
And
sorry, one more thing. See, one thing I learned from Maggie is this: a lot of us will reflect when times are bad, but we go back to our old normal when things become normal again. We don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Maggie is different is that because she continuously reflects and she takes action. That's why she's also very open to defining who she is, while being open to becoming who life shows out to her to be, right? To get the biggest stuff in life. So that's
precisely. So, please don't wait until something like the pandemic happens and then we reflect. And then, when things are good, like I'm noticing right now, we go back to our default or what was before, right? Whether it was default or not. Yeah. Sometimes the default needs a reset and a proper reset. Okay. So on that note, we've come to the end of today's or this week's show. Next week, we have with us Associate Professor Maithili Subramaniam, who's going to be speaking to us about the research around mental health and wellness and disorders. And don't be surprised to find that some interesting nuggets, and that we may be putting ourselves in jeopardy if we're not careful about how we think about our mental health and wellness. Malar, are we ready to say goodbye?
Meanwhile, stay well. Malaysia will come again next week, same time, hopefully as happy to talk about well-being. Bye.
Yes, and so will Singapore be here. We cannot have Malaysia take over the whole thing. So Singapore and Malaysia will do this together next week. Until then, bye-bye, everyone. Have a good weekend, Good Friday, and Happy Easter.
Yep, bye.